All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would sit down and do a live for you guys and gals. I tried something new. I've had a lot of people I know do this who are influencers. They have a Amazon wish list. I made one. I'm going to link it there. Of course, I'm going to put it under all my videos. Might as well. Why not? Maybe I'll get some protein powder for fans or followers. Who knows? All right, good mornings. We're having a return of good mornings. Did I make this public? I don't see anyone. Yeah, we're definitely public. We are definitely public. There's the first person coming in. All right, so return to the good mornings. I added them back in today. You guys can see it in the vlog. I was discussing this the other day, of saying that there's a lot of things that I got right big time when I was doing a conjugate. I think particularly for squats and deadlifts, there's a reason I have built really, really good squats and deadlifts. Now that I'm linear cutting, and even though I'm bodybuilding oriented, some of those things I want to return back to my training, such as all the GBP, the conditioning I've been doing. Good mornings, though, right? Good mornings. I used to be so big on those. In fact, I knew other coaches and other people who used to joke that, like, Blaha loves good mornings. I actually had someone say, Blaha would make love to good mornings if he could. It's kind of funny. I saw that come up. So I'm like, you know what? I need to push good mornings again. Look at what they used to do for my squat and deadlift. How often did I used to say that good mornings were largely responsible for getting my squat up to where it was, like when I hit that 600 and 605 on the camber bar? Kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. So you know what? I added them back in today. Right? Good morning to you also, Alan. So I added them back in. Of course, it was difficult. I haven't done them in a while, so even that 355 for a triple felt real heavy, but I didn't want to push it. So I'm just going to slowly add them back in. I'm actually considering adding box squats back in on my leg day. And again, because my lower body development is pretty dang good at this point, my legs are not a weak link. I might as well do a little bit of my power training again for them while focusing the upper body entirely on bodybuilding. Other than maybe a top set of heavy bench, but is heavy benching still not bodybuilding? I think that it is. But of course, as you guys know, like the incline is really a big deal for me right now in the upper body as I pursue a better physique, right? No, Alan, conjugates. And people keep asking me that, Alan. In fact, someone I know who watches this stuff sent me a private message. Oh my God, it's conjugate. I'm like, no, dude, no desire to. What I said, and again, this is where people misunderstand. They get little things like that wrong. I said there's a lot of things that I got right when I did conjugate that I want to incorporate some of those things again. It doesn't mean I'm going to have a return to conjugate. I'm not powerlifting. I'm pretty much physique training right now, but it is power building. And in a sense, conjugate was its own style of power building, but it's going to be physique focused, guys. It just is. But I do want to do some good mornings. I do want to do some box squats in addition to all the GPP. Omar, that question itself is insanely funny. Oh my gosh, and it's cool because it means you're still learning. So this is I'm in no way mocking you. But because the word GPP just means conditioning, and oftentimes people rotate GPP, there can't possibly be a best GPP exercise, right? GPP can vary. It can be all sorts of stuff. I'm choosing to do the weight vest walking as my primary form of GPP. Doesn't mean there's a best. Like that is literally like asking, what's the best exercise for hypertrophy? See what I mean? Again, GPP stands for General Physical Preparedness. So anything from loaded carries to weight vest walking to sleds to prowlers, a lot of them done for time, a lot of them done for distance. In my case, I'm just doing very large amounts of heavy walking, with my weight vest on. And that's what I'm doing at the moment, but I could always work some of my sleds and prowlers back in the near future, and I may do that. All right. Hey, Luke, I don't know, man. When do you think? Like, you're asking me to make a prediction of the way the internet's going to work. Luke, I don't know. I have no clue. I know that it will eventually. I know that it will eventually, especially if I keep improving. Because now it's getting to where I'm getting the compliments. People are coming back in. Clients are hitting me. Other coaches are hitting me up saying, okay, this is doing really good here. So it'll probably reach a point where it does. Either that or the Facebook both blow up. Either one or both over time. You know, we'll just see what happens. But I mean, Luke, I would ask you, when do you think? What do you mean? It should be common sense. Alan. It should be common sense. Let me ask a serious question. Has someone with a sizable, good sized fitness outreach ever not seen improved growth or return of growth by looking better? I mean, isn't that usually kind of how it works? I don't even need it to really blow up, to be honest. If I ever just got the amount of views I got when I used to do current events and drama, just off of actual helping people, I would consider that to be a great success. Okay. If my weekly views and outreach from putting out helpful, beneficial, useful information ever reaches what it used to be when I did that sort of content also, of purely helping people, that would be a great success. Like I would actually be pretty dang happy with that. Like if that happened in the next few months, I would be ecstatic. Yeah, it's harder, but here's the difference, Luke. There aren't many older guys, masters lifters, who are doing really, really good by comparison, right? And I know that it's hard, but that can definitely be a niche. That can be a niche. The fact that, again, I turned 48 in less than 2 weeks, actually. About to be at that age, if I continue to look better and I continue to rebuild strength, if over the next 6 months I make as good of improvements as I've made in the previous 6 months, if I replicate that same level of change, I think it will kind of put me there. And I don't have to be the most competitive, guys. I don't need 1 million followers. I don't need 1 million followers. I just need it to be at the sort of views I used to get. That's it. And again, that's kind of its own little niche. So, it is what it is. Let's go roll with it. And why not? I'm enjoying the physique thing. It's a change of mindset for me. I think it's a more mature mindset, more inclusive in terms of less fighting in the fitness world and realizing our goals have a lot more in common with each other than we realize. Right? Yeah, but Luke, when those things don't work, then they come to me. It's all good. Matt says, Coach, should I perform my plate front raises all the way up over my head at the range of motion laws or straight out? Oh gosh, Matt, we could debate that all day long. There's something on my shirt. I just pulled this out of the dryer and it's on my shirt. What's going on there? All right. We can debate that a lot. I think to the face is perfectly fine. If you can go a little higher, that's fine. I don't think you necessarily have to take them all the way up over your head. Right? I don't think you need to. But if you want to, you can. It's not going to hurt your results if you're capable of doing it. Okay? How's that sound? It's not going to hurt your results. So I would say it depends on however you want to do it and where you feel it the most, honestly. Where do you feel the most shoulder with it? Does it feel better to you? Oftentimes we have to do that, especially with a lot of the more isolation type movements. We really do have to look at them and go, where do I feel it? And I know that's not an exacting thing, and people say that sounds a little woo-woo, but isn't that the truth? I mean, has that not worked for bodybuilders for 50, 60 years when they discuss mind-muscle connection? Has mind-muscle connection kind of been found to have some degree of truth in the lab too? Yeah, I'm just saying. Right, Matt, you pulled your other message. I can't see it now. Oh well, you can retype it if it's something important. All right, if it's something important. Okay. So we put that up. Oh, let's check and see that. We did this. Also did seated dumbbell presses with neutral grip today, assuming that's all good. Yeah, no, I think that's a great exercise. I mean, you can do them all the way out, or you can do them with the neutral grip, depending upon your shoulder health. I think they both can work. But if you prefer them with a neutral grip, if it feels more comfortable on your shoulders, by all means. There is something to be said for taking them out wider for people who have the shoulder health and mobility to do it. I think that can be a great thing, actually. But if your shoulders feel better with that neutral grip, again, by all means, carry on. Again, that's kind of one of those that's going to be dependent upon what you feel. We could make a case for better overall, maybe side delt, getting a little more with it wider. But again, you also have to pay attention to shoulder health. Okay, there's something to think about with that. All right. And I had the bicep veins earlier. They kind of faded. I think it happened when it was a little cooler, it's raining outside. It was all vascular earlier. I was doing a call earlier with consultation. All right. So yeah, no, I think that's perfectly fine, Matt. All right, let's get some other good questions going here. Let's get some other questions. Some of these people. Man, it's going to be a little more lively in here. You never know how these are going to go. Mustafa says, how are you? I'm doing good, Mustafa. How about yourself, man? I'm doing good. Omar says, I still have trouble keeping tight when benching. My right shoulder area usually moves around like it stops being glued to the bench. What do you mean? Stick it down to the bench. Like again, pull your scapula down. Just pull the bar apart. Like that's also a trick for that, Omar. If you actively work on breaking the bar or pulling it apart the whole time, that should help you with that. We saw it very funny, man. I love your pictures. You're strong. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. But back over to that point, Omar. Again, engage the lats, and it will do that. And to engage the lats, the two tricks are either to break the bar apart or to try to pull it apart actively, and that will help keep you locked into that position. Right? It'll keep you locked into that position. So it's like this. So when you're coming down the bench, if you do that, it will keep you here, right? It will keep you here. Instead of and if you don't do that, it'll tend to roll forward if you're not doing that. But if you keep those lats engaged, right, by breaking the bar, when you come up, those shoulders will stay down. Mustafa, can I get big and strong like you with push-ups and pull-ups? You can't afford a gym. Nope, probably not going to happen, dude. How are you going to lift 500 or 600 pounds without 500 or 600 pounds? Come on. You can find a way to get a gym, man. There's ways to make money. You can do it. It can be done. You got to get your hustle tight. Omar says, yeah, I think I would need to take a video of it and see. I also do, Omar, I'm running consultations at half price at $50 instead of $100. I could film your thing and get into a call. I'll help get you fixed, right? I'll help get you fixed. Or I can even schedule the call, like we can schedule it when you know you'll be at the gym. And if you just put your AirPods or whatever in while you go bench, I'll walk you through it during one of those paid calls and help you through your bench. I've done that quite a few times. Very straightforward. Hit 4x12 on the side laterals today, but I'm thinking about taking the weight up to 415 before I move up. And that's fair, Matt. I don't see an issue with that. Adam B., Coach, how fast would you recommend someone cut at 20% body fat? Slow. I always tell people, cut slow. Because you can gain, if you cut slow, you can gain muscle instead of losing muscle. while you cut. That's always your ideal, right? That should generally be what we're trying to do. And this is, I mean, I had to lose a little bit because I was at a higher body fat and had a lot to get done sometimes, but and I lost some leg muscle. But I didn't lose upper body. My bench and everything is just as strong. 20 pounds lighter body weight, right? And my deadlift is almost as strong. It's like right on the cusp. So generally speaking, though, if we don't bulk and get too fat, we don't have these problems. And the same thing, take your time with it. Just cut slow. Everyone needs to quit being so impatient. Like they ask the wrong questions. How fast? You need to be thinking of how slow can I live with instead of how fast. Because again, faster always compromises potential muscle, always compromises potential strength. Okay. And if you just take your time with it, you can recomp a little bit during a cut. And then you get the best of both worlds. Then you always make gains. You're not going to spin your wheels if everything is dialed in just because you're in a slow cut or even at body weight. And that's the way to look at it. Because 20% body fat is not that fat. The average American male is probably 28, 30%, you know. Slowly diet down and recomp. Take your time. Take 6 months. Take a year. Focus on making progress as you go. Hey, Mustafa, I have no idea how to help you in a country in that situation, man. That's completely outside of my wheelhouse. Right? I mean, you say you don't have a gym, you have certain foods, just need to eat more and you need to work out. You need to find a way to get more foods and get to a gym, right? And I don't know how to make money in your country. You're going to have to figure that out. It's not my wheelhouse, dude. All right? We're getting outside of my ability to help you, unfortunately. It's not what I do, right? And that's fair. So what I might suggest instead, Mustafa, and I don't want to deter you from my channel and my information, but maybe you should go find a channel on how to make money, because it sounds like that would solve your problems. Okay. Man. So there's your solution. You need to go, because I can't help you without weights. There's nothing. If you don't have food and weights, and hate to say it, there's literally nothing my channel can do to help you. I have no skill set that's going to benefit you. So you need to probably be watching finance and business channels so you can make the money to have those things, right? Good afternoon, Coach. Good afternoon, Jess. Adam B. Good diet advice, Coach. You're welcome, Adam. And it's about mindset. Matt says, hit another recomp swoosh today on the lean bulk and drop half a pound. Love taking the slow approach, staying lean, pure muscle gains. It's the way to go, dude. All right. Matt says, I'm in an aesthetic industry and my face is the first thing to gain fat when I bulk. So I'm really feeling good that I've done this slow and controlled, no face weight gain. It's the way to go, dude. And I've been trying to tell people that too. Fitness is good for business. Most businesses, being fit is going to benefit you financially. It's in your best interest, right? The business world has such an enormous fitness overlap now. I mean, God, even look at Jeff Bezos up there, shirtless, showing you guys that he's fit. We have the whole RFK, Make America Healthy Again. I'm telling you guys, this is really the way, right? Being fit, being lean, being jacked, eating healthy, lifting weights is really going to be the culture of success, and it's becoming more and more and more and more, right? Satnef says, yeah, I know an opera singer that benefit from getting in shape. Yeah, which sounds counterintuitive because we think of opera singers, you know, being healthier, but if you think about it, they're vocal athletes, aren't they? Is insulin sensitivity and other stuff going to be important for maintaining their voice long term? Spencer, why would you think that? Matt, I'm not going to repeat what you just said because if that's not true, I'm putting myself up to slander. I'm not aware of him saying that, but that's someone who would have the ability to sue me for slander. So I'm not going to say something I don't know for a fact he said. Fair? So, I'm not sure where you read that. I haven't seen that. All right, I've read they lose power from getting lean. Well, Spencer, did you read that from a credible source? Or has it just been historically the case? I would think having good cardiovascular health and muscle would help them a lot. I could be wrong. But again, given that they were vocal athletes and even keeping their vocal cords and stuff healthy, probably a good idea. Becoming diabetic is not good for any tissues of your body. And ultimately, serious obesity, the number one cause of type 2 diabetes. No, lungs are so important. Yep. I would think that would be the case sat nav, just looking at what's involved biologically. You apps are flying everywhere. What? I don't understand what you mean, William. Is this breaking news or something? Like, how's this fitness related? Unless it's something that just hit the news or CNN 5 minutes ago, why are we discussing that? So you're telling me if I go check my feed, there's going to be breaking news stories about this right now. Otherwise, I don't see how it's relevant. I'm going to check the news. CNN. So I'm going to see this on CNN, right? Right now, the most breaking news. So if I don't, then why are you doing this? I don't see anything at all on breaking news. Therefore, you are wasting my time, my friend. I haven't seen anything in my feed. Nothing's been mentioned, dude. I think you're just posting crazy stuff. All right. So can we stay on topic, please? I thought I was going to be a UFO invasion as soon as I checked CNN as the whole world had declared it 5 minutes ago or something. Because if it's not that level of breaking news, it's no place here. Omar, I have no idea what you're talking about. Sorry. I don't recall having said that specific line at all. Yeah. I'm not saying rib cage doesn't matter for what we're doing for thickening your chest, but I would never, ever tell anyone not to incline bench for aesthetics. All right. All right. What game is worth it? No, you don't. I don't video game at all anymore. I turn up. I don't do any video gaming. I have no time for it. Sorry, just how I feel. I mean, to each their own. Do you think high sugar food sweets have any role in fitness intra workout or something? Sat nav. So you're defining as refined sugars, right? So when you say high sugar, we're not talking about a banana, right? Let me get clarity. We're talking about refined sugars. We're talking about free fructose in which there's no fiber. So table sugar, high fructose corn syrup, so on. They have no place in the human diet, in my opinion. There's no reason for humans to consume those at all. Decided to run 531 gains. I could get on my list listed currently squatting. I don't know how much you could gain. Right? Sat nav. Wait, no. That's a separate topic. You just wrote glucose. That's a completely separate topic. So are we talking refined fructose or are you talking glucose? That's completely unrelated topics. Like glucose and fructose are not chemically the same or processed the same. Right? You should generally be consuming glucose-based carbohydrates, yes. If you're going to consume carbohydrates. I don't know what glucose syrup is. So I can't answer that because I've never heard of that. Sorry. Turnip keto thoughts. Turnip, you need to be more specific. I'm not a fan of the traditional keto type diets. I think lower carb diets can work great as long as you're not adding junk food fats. And as long as you're getting plenty of vegetables and fiber, very low carb diets can be phenomenal, but they need to be high protein. Keto is not high protein. It's a 80% fat. And a lot of people who are messing with their versions of keto add a bunch of garbage foods like bacon and butter to it. That's a problem. You know, are you talking about eating steak, eggs, and vegetables? I think that can be fantastic, depending upon the person and what they're trying to do. Okay. Again, very, very complicated, nuanced topic. Yes, Mustafa, now we got the veins coming out, getting all vascular. Yeah, I don't think you should not be doing a traditional keto type diet unless a doctor has directed you to do it for medical reasons. No, I don't think butter is healthy at all. That 531 you hit today became a battle of will around the kneecap, awesome stuff. Yeah, it was grindy there, but we once we got through that sticking point, it locked fast. So that kind of tells me it's just my hamstrings are limiting me at the moment. Born, I don't remember what the Joker sets were. Like, I haven't read up on the 531 stuff in a while. I do have the books. You're going to have to ask Wendler about that, the Joker sets and other stuff. He takes questions though. So I don't really know what sort of gains you're going to get on that program. I can't tell you that. It's not how it works. Does going to sleep later at night, we're getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep, decrease muscle growth compared to going to sleep earlier? No, not necessarily. Are you going to start doing hamstring curls? I don't have a hamstring curl machine. Maybe if I were at a gym, I would do them. I would probably do them for sure if I was at a gym with a machine. Did you see that video? No, and that's my downside to some of that. That's the one thing I don't like. They're pushing a little too far into some of the carnivore stuff. But I don't have an issue. I think from a cultural perspective, pushing Americans towards, because Americans are going to eat lots of meat. It's just going to happen. Pushing towards replacing sugars with animal fat and animal foods, I think would be beneficial. I mean, if we're going to really break it down, talking about replacing sugar with meat and eggs, I'm going to support that every single time. Is there any downside to working out late at night, 10 p.m. to midnight, and then going immediately to sleep? Yeah, you might have trouble sleeping. If you can sleep just fine afterwards, I don't think there's a downside at all. Just be aware you're probably not going to want to use any stimulants or caffeine or any of that stuff. You may want the workouts to be a hair calmer. I've done that and did just fine on it in the past. So it's not a downside as long as your sleep pattern allows for it. Perfectly fine. Well, I think having a fried turkey once a year isn't bad. I just feel like some people might see that. And that would be fine. I think for a holiday thing, I think that's perfectly reasonable. I wouldn't recommend frying anything in any sort of fats as a regular daily thing. I don't think that's a good idea. Right? Are post-workout meals necessary if you train right before bed? I would at least get some protein in, Roman. Right? The bare minimum, I'd get a protein shake in. Would be my advice. That would be my advice. If you want to be optimal, because I wouldn't sleep all night on an empty stomach like that after training. But if you get at least a protein shake or some protein in, I think it's fine as long as your other stuff's good. I would always get some protein in though at some point post workout, definitely before bed, right? No matter what you do. Like I said, even if it's all protein, that's perfectly acceptable. If you had to commit to either protein, carbs, or fat, which you do, I wouldn't. That's a nonsense. That's a complete nonsense idea. Like, what do you mean commit? Those are all, to some degree, almost necessary. Like, you'll die without 2 out of those 3. So you just created a death scenario. So you just created a scenario where you're just going to die within a year. How about we don't do that? Unless I'm misunderstanding something. Now, are we talking about as a larger chunk of your calories if you had to commit to one? Why am I being forced to commit to this? Who's forcing me and why? Hypothetically, I suppose there would need to be a protein bias if we want body composition. Do you have videos about this protein sparing effect of carbs that I'm hearing at the gym? There's a bit from the insulin, but you know what's even more protein sparing? It's protein. Do you think I should invest in a GHD machine if I already have a hamstring curl machine? Maybe, Cameron. What's your budget and floor space look like, and what else are you looking at filling in with that area? You kind of see where I'm going. I mean, it could be a useful addition, but I don't know for a fact it's the best use of your budget or your floor space, but it could be. It's not a bad choice, right? Not a bad choice. Remember, SatNav, there's nothing more protein sparing than protein. Spencer Jones says, I drive an extra half hour to use a gym that has a GHR. I mean, they're good to have. I mean, eventually I could end up getting a donkey for mine, putting it on my road thing. Right? One day. Any general advice on how not to lose progress or improve your life when you don't have access to the weight room or time to cook healthy meals? Find a way to resistance train. That's it. That is the only thing you can do. Find something you can lift or ways to resistance train. Failing that, you don't have a problem. Update your opinion on creatine. If I remember correctly, it doesn't jive. No, creatine does a little bit. It's so minuscule in the grand scheme of things. Does that make sense? It's one of the few supplements that work. Evening, Jason, currently doing my version of this weight vest walking for cardio, except no weight vest, just mostly uphill, 20. You'd rather up the mountain? Let's go. Do it, Benji. Do it. Spencer, can you elaborate on your version of? I don't do any of that for clients anymore. I messed with it for a while, my own versions of it. I haven't done that in years. Right? I haven't done that in years, so I don't have a version at all. Everything is just custom programming at this point based on what I'm doing. Yes, am I going to do a live on Facebook? Yeah, I'll probably do a live on Facebook later tonight. Right? Working out while sick. No, you shouldn't work out while sick. You should be healing up. Right? Depending on how sick you are. If you're fairly sick, then no, that's a waste of recovery resources. You should be sleeping at that time. You should be sleeping with that time turned up. Turn Up Queen G. Kind of a cool name. I can dig it. All right. Also, I'm going to link my Amazon wish list. I decided to make one today, just out of nowhere. It's pretty much just whey protein, creatine, and fish oil. my wish list. Should I throw some guitars and stuff in there? No, seriously, I made one, guys. I made one because people are always like, I don't want to donate on here. I want something you'll use. So I made the wish list. I see all these other influencers who have it. All these Instagram girls have a wish list. Why can't I have one? Right? I have adoring male followers. If you take enough, it does, Spencer. Not in the normal amounts. Like we're talking 2 grams of EPA and DHA. Any fitness product or subs you can see being banned soon? Not necessarily. Not off the top of my head. I don't know. Unless they change the Supplement Control Act, probably not. Unless they just put drugs in it or they come up with problems. And Tony says, I've been working out for 1.5 years now. I have no idea what I was doing. Recently got empowered, but my numbers aren't high enough to go into a program. Can I still run your 5x5? Maybe if you're still a novice, or you could just do a power building program. It's fine. There's nothing preventing you from doing a power building approach, even if you only bench 1 plate aside for a couple reps, dude. Just saying. Anthony, I also have slots open still on the Cyber Monday and Black Friday sale. So if you need actual programming, it's $50 off a month for coaching. Spencer says mine is 1,200 milligrams omega-3s per 2 pills. You're asking what is medically prescribed. So Spencer, what do medical doctors and cardiologists prescribe with extra strength fish oil to lower triglycerides in a prescription environment, like a therapeutic environment? 2 grams of EPA and DHA. So for my fish oils that I take, that's 3 caps, right? Because I do the extra strength ones. It's 3 caps a day, and that's what I personally take. Yeah, that seems to lower triglycerides in a clinical setting for people who have them elevated. Tuna fish, what should I buy? You need to watch mercury in tuna fish. I don't know. I don't eat fish. Tuna. My nurse practitioner just told me to take the fish oil. Yeah, so what's usually prescribed is 2 grams of EPA and DHA combined. So you need to look at your label and see how much of it is those 2 and get to 2 grams if that's what they're telling you to take for triglycerides. I ran a power building program with the author states I need a 225 bench, a 315 squat, and a 405 deadlift to make progress on it. It did. No, you don't need that to make progress on it. Do you think Dyna's Heights ISO 100 is a good protein supplement? Yeah, actually, that one's pretty decent, Cameron. That one's decent. I do prefer the optimal nutrition, right? But that one's decent. And even though I might have my differences with Mark or Tiger Fitness, even his own TS Whey is actually pretty good. It's high quality and it usually tastes good. Before he and I fell out, he sent me quite a few free tubs of it. And I was pretty happy with it. I mean, how's that for being just honest, saying, look, we fell out and we have nothing to do with each other, but his protein's still pretty good. How's that for just trying to being a decent person, right? And just saying, you know what, our differences are irrelevant. His product, that one product is still pretty good. You know, I can't knock it. So I'm looking at it 65. Yeah, so you would probably need double that amount, most likely. Yeah. No, you need 2 grams total. So that's half. You're halfway there. Manco, that is the question for your doctor, bro. If they're talking purely for health benefits, I mean, if you have low testosterone, then yes, 100%. But if you don't have low testosterone, if you're only training for health benefits, no, you probably shouldn't. Do you recommend vitamin D? Yeah, if you need vitamin D. If you need vitamin D, depends on the climate, your skin tone, how much sunlight you get. If there's any doubt about it, get blood work. I actually have a client who his vitamin D came back low on his blood work last week, and so we're like, yeah, we'll just take a supplement, a couple cents a day. What is the best steroid with no hair loss? Nandrolone. Like if you're saying you want no hair loss for people who are genetically prone. I mean, if you're not, don't carry the gene for that, you're not going to have real hair loss probably. How do I lose so much weight? Diet, cardio. All right. Because he just said no hair loss, Spencer. Anavar is a DHT base. Thank you. For men, also, how much does that go for? I don't understand your question, Tyler. Please ask it a different way. No, I'm not going to prescribe for you an exact amount of nandrolone in your stack versus your test ratios to take here. Do you think David Lade was natty even though he was stronger than all his friends when he takes it? Influencers are generally not natty. I thought Anavar didn't cause, why would Anavar not cause hair loss? It's a DHT derivative. That's usually that's your biggest class that's going to have the most chance of causing it, dude. Yeah. Not saying it happens to everyone, by the way. I'm just saying if you're truly concerned with hair loss, the DHTs are probably on your X list, even though they're pretty phenomenal. All right. Tynell, you better really, really, really know what you're doing. You start going that route, my friend. I'm not saying DECA only cycles aren't done, but you need to really understand a lot about anabolics and side effects and controlling things to undertake that. You might need to take other stuff with that to be okay. Why aren't you using your silversmith equipment? I don't understand that question, sorry. Yeah, Tynell, again, you need to really understand the nature of nandrolone, and then using nandrolone completely by itself with no test, you better know what you're doing. You better do some reading, some serious research, and talk to a lot of experts. And no, that's not for the noob. My guns, you mean ammo reloading? No, I haven't done any of that on camera in many, many years because it was confusing to people. It was a stick and people didn't understand it. And it was confusing and distracting. That metal work, yeah, I never did metal working. I reloaded ammunition as a hand loader. Yeah. Is it true most users should just use tests? No, I think they should stack tests with an anabolic personally. I don't buy into the test only for a totally complicated topic. I've covered that in consultations with people, by the way, who've done gear consultations. I do those, by the way. For my consultations, I do gear advice. Fairly frequently for the paid ones. Did you build your own gym equipment? No, most of it was made by Rogue. I put it all together, assembled it, but all right. But I did not manufacture it. I don't own a forge to forge steel or powder coat things or any of that. No. Yeah, I do not, in fact, own a forge or a foundry or powder coating equipment or a lathe or a machine shop. No. Yeah, and the turnip, that wasn't gunsmithing. Gunsmithing is working on them. That was ammunition reloading. But it is cheaper to build on. No, probably not. Have you watched Lyle McDonald's critique? Which one? Not lately, no. It got linked to me. I haven't checked it out yet. I haven't had time. I got other stuff. So, about 45 minutes in. This one's been pretty slow. I might wind this down, guys. I think I'm going to wind this one down. Get back to some other things. So I hope it's been informative. I love all you guys and gals, and I will talk to you next time.